So what do we mean when we say that languages are related to each other? Like, what does it mean for two languages, say Spanish and Italian, to be related to each other? It means that they share an ancestor language with each other, sometimes referred to as a mother language. And these ancestor languages are also sometimes referred to as proto-languages if we don't have any of the remaining language. In the case of Spanish and Italian, their ancestor language would be Latin, and we can trace Latin's roots back even further. Linguists will often use family trees to illustrate the relationship between languages, similar to how a biologist would. So, for example, in the case of the Romance languages, you would have Latin as the mother languages, and then all of the daughter languages would be Italian, Spanish, French, Catalan, Romanian, etc., right? And in the case of the language I'm speaking, English, it also has sister languages, say like German and Dutch, for example. They also have a mother tongue, but it didn't survive to the modern days. We would call that Proto-Germanic. We call it Proto because even though it hasn't survived to the modern day, we're able to use reconstructive methods to create what we're pretty sure the language might have looked like. Linguists are able to create these proto-languages by looking at all of the daughter languages and looking at similar words, similar features, structures, etc., and creating what we think would be the best image of the mother language, what would have created all those daughter languages, right? So then, since English and Spanish aren't in the same language family, does that mean that they're not related? But that doesn't seem right? Because they have a ton of similar words and structure, right? They are related. See, the Germanic family and the Romance family are subfamilies of an even larger family, which is the Proto-Indo-European family. The Indo-European family consists of quite a few different branches, the main ones being Balto-Slavic, Celtic, Italic, Germanic, Albanian, Greek, Armenian, and Indo-Iranian. According to the book Languages of the World by Assia Perelzweig, it was first noticed that all of these languages might have a shared history in 1786 when, during a lecture on Indian culture, quote, Jones made his famous pronouncement on the affinities of Sanskrit, the ancient language of India, and European languages, which later became known as the Philosopher Passage. And the Jones that she's referring to is Sir William Jones, the Chief Justice of India and the founder of the Royal Asiatic Society. And the Philosopher Passage is, quote, the Sanskrit language, whatever be its antiquity, is of a wonderful structure, more perfect than the Greek, more copious than the Latin, and more exquisitely refined than either, yet bearing to both of them a stronger affinity, both in the roots of verbs and in the forms of grammar, than could possibly have been produced by accident. So strong, indeed, that no philologer, which was basically what a linguist was back then, could examine them all three without believing them to have sprung from some common source, which, perhaps, no longer exists. There is a similar reason, though not quite so forcible, for supposing that both the Gothic and Celtic, though blended with a different idiom, had the same origin with the Sanskrit, and the Old Persian might be added to the same family. So that just goes to show how, like, incredible of a tool that linguistics is, that we're just able to, like, reconstruct these ancient languages, know that they're all related. It's just so fascinating to me, and of course those aren't the only, like, main language families. There's also Afro-Asiatic and Austronesian. Those are also some pretty big ones, and yeah, fascinating.